welcome. Thank you for joining us today. I'm going to be doing a neck massage for the lovely Lauren, and I'm going to go ahead and dive right in. So Lauren was kind of describing a pain that's very common, and one of the first muscles that tends to collect stress is the upper trap muscle. And it can travel all the way into the neck and all those different muscles. And one really simple technique that I like to use to, start this kind of session is just a pincer grasp. So I'm gonna go ahead and just grab hold of these upper traps with my hands. And I'm really just gonna squeeze, and I'm gonna focus on that muscle belly. So really that meaty part of the muscle. And I'm just gonna start to squeeze. So Lauren is someone who is used to deeper pressure. So even so, I'm not gonna use max pressure to start. Really encouraging Lauren to just relax her shoulders and really relax into the table as I do this kind of work. And especially if I'm shorter on time, this is a really nice way to just get a really good start on a effective deeper tissue massage. And I might do this a few times. I always do this without oil so I can get a really nice hold. And just kind of each time I'm going a little bit deeper. And the thing that you have to be a little bit careful of is you don't want to just start pinching skin. So you can do this pincer grasp with movement too if you want to start kind of sliding those hands down, but you don't want to get to the end and then just be pinching skin because that defeats the purpose and it doesn't feel very good. And this is more for the levator than the upper trap. Definitely affects both areas. And I do really want to focus on the upper trap today, and I'm actually feeling like some myofascial release would be a really nice way to kind of move forward with all this. I love including some connective tissue work when I can on the upper back because it can be really helpful, and it's a really just natural place to do this kind of work. So with this myofascial work, I am not working on the muscle fiber, I'm working on that connective tissue above the muscle. And you basically want to feel like you're catching skin. And I've talked about myofascial release before, and really important to communicate what you're doing, because I just find people get impatient and they can feel like it's not really worth doing until you explain the benefits. Sometimes I'll do this too if I feel like my client is a little bit scattered, or it's just a nice way to really encourage your client to just relax into the table, really surrender their weight. And I like working on top of the scapula, those rotator cuff muscles a little bit. And the important thing to remember with this myofascial work is to just come at that tissue from different angles. So You do want to be working away from the spine generally. Or at least parallel to it. And I'm just going to do one more across this upper trap and into that, on top of that rotator cuff muscle, on top of the scap. There is a big difference between just kind of sliding your hands, across someone's back and really like being engaged in the work. So with this more subtle kind of work, you really need to be present. And you do, again, need to feel that like catching of the skin as much as possible, or you're not going to be really accomplishing very much. And I find that I'm less effective if I go too fast. So and I'm trying to use as much surface area as possible. So really trying to use my whole palm. This area is a broader surface area to work on, so it's just a lot easier to do this kind of work than in the low back, for example. The pecs are kind of like the hardest place to do this kind of work, I think. And I'm just going to bring this into the lats a little bit and really encourage all that to just stretch and soften. And always when I'm doing that slower kind of work, taking my hands off nice and slow. So it's going to feel really weird if I just kind of jump my hands off my client. And I'm going to grab my oil and start focusing on those muscles. I'm really glad that I did that myofascial work too, because it's kind of broadening like Lauren's focus into her mid-back, and it just feels a little more expansive than just, working on one or two muscles. So and always when I'm doing neck work, when my client's face down, I'm sure to do some upper back work first, especially on that upper trap. And I'll kind of start doing more detailed work into the neck, but really focusing on that upper trap and those levator scap muscles. And before I forget, I want to thank a few of our patrons. I'd like to thank Hong Yi Song, Angel, and Shane Butler. Thank you guys so much for your support. And this area around the scapula can be really crunchy, which is, I used to do more rolfing kind of work. It can be effective too, where you just kind of barrel your way through that muscle fiber. But I just find that using a little bit more finesse and going a little bit slower is more effective for me at this point as a body worker. And also with that upper trap, I'm focusing on kind of stretching things out this way as well. That's a really nice move for the upper trap. I'm just starting to kind of hone in on that area in the neck a little more. And I'm really keeping this pretty general I'm just really making sure I give this area some TLC before working my way into the neck. If I had more time, I might kind of walk around the table and get into these areas with my elbow, but if I don't have a lot of time, I usually just stay in front of my client, use my thumbs. But I am, if you watch my videos, you know I'm very selective when using my thumb, just because they tire out. And finally, I'm going to start just bringing my thumbs along that upper trap into the neck and using quite a bit of pressure. And I'll start kind of walking my way. So I'm going to start kind of working more locally and more focused on the upper trap than those lateral neck muscles. So I'm just really focusing on bringing some relief to that whole area and feeling for any congestion. And I really like to do this standing. I really like the angle. And I can get all the way to the top. And I might even kind of do some compressive work in the suboccipitals. I can kind of reach the end of that movement. And usually when I transition to the other side, I'll just kind of do something a little, less thoughtful, or not less thoughtful, but just giving Lauren a little break. And check in with this opposite side. And if a client comes in and they're kind of describing like a really dull, just pain in their neck, upper back, I'll kind of think about if I want to work on them face up or face down. But a lot of the times, this kind of work can be super helpful for that kind of pain. The hard part about this is that it does take a lot of strength, thumb strength. So you just got to be careful of using this technique too much, because you can kind of tire yourself out if you're not careful. And at this point, I am going to like to do just kind of broader circles away from the spine into that upper trap. Feels really nice after all that. And I would like to kind of touch on those scalene muscles a little bit. So again, if I don't have a lot of time, I will use this technique. It feels really, really good, and it's really straightforward and pretty easy for me. So it's a win-win. I'm just using those soft fists. Can cover a lot of bases with this move. Just whenever there's a lot of tension concentrated in one area, I like to just broaden the focus out and kind of see how all that tension's affecting other muscles. So if you can find a move where you include a broader surface area, but it can be kind of detailed too, it's great. This is great for the levator scapula as well. Kind of more superficial work, but still feels really good. And I'm doing this very like deliberately. You don't have to, you can do like one hand at a time if you want. There's all kinds of different ways that you can explore this technique. And this would feel kind of funny to like end this way. So I just like to end with something really calming, and effleurage is usually like my favorite way to end a massage. So just something that feels really nice and calming. And that is all for today. Thank you so much for joining us today, guys. I hope that you enjoyed today's video, and I wanted to wish you a very happy holiday, and I look forward to seeing you next time.